What's up, everyone? We're here with Zach Finn, who just topped Saturday's Miami Regional and got second place. Playing what deck?
I played Blue Eyes at the event.
Oh, nice. And what matchups did you have that day?
I had 3 mirror matches. I lost one of them to the guy who ended up going undefeated. I played Burning Abyss, played Mermail, which was surprisingly a little harder than I thought it should be. But whatever, things happen. Played a couple Metal Foe. That matchup is so free. But yeah, all in all, I was pretty happy with the deck and the matchups I played against. A couple small changes that I'd make that I'll talk about later. But let's get into the deck.
All right, let's get to it.
So the staples, of course, 3 alternative, 3 Blue Eyes. Can't play the deck without these cards. This card breaks the deck. This is a weird card, like, you really should suck, but you kind of have to play it for this card, and some of the other things that the deck does. I play 1 Dragon Spirit of White. For a long time, I really liked 2, but it came to a point where I really wanted to play first as much as I could, and I was opening a lot of hands with 2 of it, and it could be really bricky. Even drawing just 1 of it, it's a dead card in your hand. The only other value it has is trade-in, so I decided to play 1 of it. So that was my big dragon lineup. For my tuners, I played 2 legend, 3 ancient. This card is really broken. It helps you establish board presence. It gives you a recovery engine for your following turns. One of the problems that this deck can have sometimes is you'll extend into a play and you won't really have a lot of recovery the turns after if they find a way to out your board. So this card can be really crucial in that. This gets your engine going with a lot of little things. It makes Dragon Shrine pretty good. It makes your Melody a +1, which is cool, and does some other cool stuff with some of the other choices I made in the deck that we'll talk about in a minute. I played 1 Master with Eyes of Blue. I wish I had more to say about this card. I think this card is broken in theory. I didn't really get to draw it enough throughout the event to make a good decision on it. I've seen some people, including the guy who got first, play 2 of it. And that could be cool. So there's some things I want to try out with it, some concepts I had with it after the fact. So we'll see where this card goes. Played 3 Sage, obviously. This card is so crucial. It does a lot of cool things. It searches you a tuner. It can search you a Veiler. That can be really clutch. The second effect where you discard it could be really good too, to send like a stone to the graveyard to get to a Blue Eyes. It can help you with some back row removal if you need it in a pinch, because you can discard this and go into the Dragon Spear and remove something from the back. So this card is really good. I played 1 Effect Veiler. I don't know. I don't feel like this card is overwhelmingly good in the format. There's a lot of Magispector going around, a lot of Raccoons, and this card just doesn't do anything against it. It can be good and can come in clutch in the mirror, but not every time, so I decided to only play 1 of it. It's cool that it's a level 1 tuner that gets you into your 9 sometimes, and that does come up, but I really liked it at 1. Obviously 2 Maxi. Card is bonkers. It could single-handedly blow out the mirror match. It can blow out the BA matchup. It does so much, and there's a reason it's at 2. Then I played 3 Galaxy Soldiers. This card is interesting. I like the concept of it. It does some really cool things. It can give you, sometimes you open a Blue Eyes without an alternative and you need a way to get it into the graveyard for like your revival spells. So this is a really good engine for that. It makes some brick hands less bricky. It puts your stones in the graveyard. Infinity is a really strong card. Sometimes some weird scenarios come up where like you're kind of forced only to an Infinity as your best play, and it's not like great because you have to commit a lot of cards into it, so sometimes it can backfire. I was really against the card for a while, but Eric and Travis kind of got me on this train after Worlds. I really put some thought into it, and I could see the benefits of it, so it's overall a really good card. For my spells, I played 3 Melody, pretty staple. 1 Dragon Shrine. I really like this card. I think it does a lot of good stuff. I played 2 for a long time, and I may go back to playing 2 at some point. But I just don't want to ever draw 2 in an opening hand or trade into a second one after I play the first one. So I decided to play 1. Played an Upstart. 39 cards is good. Um, Played one card of Consonance. I think this card is terrible. Sometimes it contradicts what you want to do. A lot of the time, you really want to keep your tuners to be able to play with them, and discarding this is not as good, or discarding it for this isn't that great. Card of Consonanting Legends is really plus, but that only comes up every now and again. And this card can just be really bricky, so I decided to cut down on it as much as I could and only played one. Played 3 trade-in, cards bonkers. For my revival spells, I played 2 Silver's Cry. A lot of people play 1, but I think this has a lot of utility. It can be an MST of sorts against like Cosmo when you really need to get rid of the Cosmo Towns or the Calls or something like that. The Pendulum matchup. It does some cool stuff. So I really like this card at 2. 3 Return of the Dragon Lords. Card's broken. It makes you feel safe committing into any board because this can just be the out to Regeki. Board wipes are really, really good against this deck, so this can cover your back in a lot of your plays, so I really like this card. Soul Charge, there's not much to say about this card. It's bonkers. It's an auto win. Every time I resolve this card, I won the game, without a doubt. So it's really cool. Probably is going to get banned at some point, but until then, we'll just keep abusing it. So a card that I really like that a lot of people are debating and there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts about it in the community is Pot of Desire. I understand what people mean about it. Banishing 10 cards can be really bad sometimes. But in a lot of situations, that could be 10 cards that you were never going to see anyway because your hand was unplayable, and playing the Desires gets you to a place where you can at least play. In the grind game, it gets rid of some resources that can be crucial, but I feel like, especially in a deck like this, you need to see as many cards as you can. And this really just gets you there sometimes. My round 1, game 1 of the day, I Pot of Desired into a Soul Charge and blew the guy out. Against the Mermail matchup, I had a really hard time in game 2. He open broken with a Mullen Glacia. Abyss guy was playing, I really needed to see 2 more cards. I drew this return, resolved it, and got there, and I won because of it. So I think this card is busted. I think it's worth the risk with it. And then I played Vanity's Emptiness in the main. If you draw this in the mirror match, it's auto win. They can't. It's so hard to out it. A lot of builds are electing not to play spell and trap removal like me. So there's really not many outs to this. So I think this card is, and it's really good against BA too. So I didn't draw it a lot, so that kind of sucks. But in theory, this card is awesome.
All right, let's check out the extra deck now.
All right, so my extra deck played 2 Blue Eye Spear Dragon, obviously. This is what you want to make every first turn. This card is so powerful. It really makes Pendulum struggle. The Graveyard Negate can be really clutch in a lot of things. And then the tag out effect is so versatile. It does so many different things. For that tag out effect, I played a bunch of targets. I played 2 Azure Eyes. This card is awesome. It's another blanket that really can make you feel safe in what you do. It's good to protect against Regekis. The other night, actually, I was testing the deck, and I was playing. I made a board of 4 monsters, and then the only out was Regeki. He had 2 cards in hand, drew to 3 for turn, standby phase. I tag out the Spirit Dragon to their Azure Eyes. And all he could say was man, that was a nice play. And then he shows me the Regeki and scoops. So this card can be really clutch sometimes. I played this guy. He's good. I don't think he straight up won me any games. He puts a lot of pressure on the PR and the opponent. He does a lot of good things. There's some builds that don't necessarily play him. I could see why. You have to commit a Blue Eyes tag out target into it, and then your normal summon most often. So it's whatever, but I like it off of Soul Charge. I like being able to make a Spirit Dragon, tag out the Spirit Dragon into something, and then Soul Charge back a bunch of guys, and then synchro into this. So he's cool. Play a Spark Dragon. I only play Spark Dragon because the potential opening this with Emptiness. If you open Spirit Dragon Emptiness and you go into this guy, it's auto win against the mirror for sure. There's no possible way they out that. And then there's some cool plays where I really needed to be able to tag my Spirit Dragon out into another 8 to make different plays. I did it to make it go into Cypher Dragon or other things like that. So that came up clutch. So I really like that about it too. Played a Black Rose. I didn't go into it as much as I usually do at the regional this weekend, but this card is really good. If you can bring this out and protect it and keep it on the board against the mirror match, it's really good. It has a lot of strong potential there. played Michael. Michael's cool. The pay 1,000 and banisher card comes up sometimes. I like the card. I never really try to keep him on the board long enough to let him mill or anything like that, but it comes up. So that's it for my synchros. We played a Nova and Infinity for the Galaxy Soldiers. This card's really good. I like the ability to take a creature underneath that helps manage a game. The negate effect is awesome. For my Galaxy engine, I played a Cypher Dragon. This card is bonkers against BA. Being able to take their Dante or their Beatrice and then overlaying into a Dark Matter Dragon or a full armor is really, really strong. I really, really like this card. I like it against the mirror too. It does some cool stuff, and it really enables some really cool plays. You play it a full armor. Blowing up a card is good, and Dark Matter is broken. It gets a lot of games going. There's some games where you really should just not be able to play, but be able to go this turn one, loads up your graveyard with stones, loads your graveyard up, sometimes with an alternative that you can pick up, and that was the missing piece. So it does some really cool stuff. I really like this engine. I was playing 4 with the Tachyon before, but I think for the sake of fitting in other things like the Infinity and stuff like that, I needed to cut it. I'd rather just have the Cypher Dragon. If I really need to make the Dark Matter Dragon, I'll forsake the Cypher Dragon throughout the match. But it ends up being better more often than not for the Dark Matter Dragon. We played Hope Harbinger. Card is broken. Really, really clutch. There's a lot of times against like Metal Foe where like I'll get them down to a card in hand, 1 scale, and they'll draw for turn, and then they're forced to have 2 completed scales or 2 scales that they're missing because I'll just negate the one. So this card is really good. Then I played Alsei. I never once went into it. Actually would have preferred to play a Dragalon over this card. So, yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm cutting this card and changing it to Dragalon after this event, so not much to say about that guy. And that's about it for my extra deck.
Let's go to the side deck now.
Alright, so for my side deck, we played 3 Reaper and a Dante. So Reaper is really, really clutch. I kind of regret playing 3. I wish I played 2 for the sake of getting something else in, but it's fine. It could be so auto-win against BA that it's worth wanting to see it right away. Some of the games, you're just going to put so much pressure on them that the only thing that they can do is make a Dante to try to get back in the game, and that just seals the deal. There's some games where it doesn't necessarily work out that way, but the games that where you just auto-blow them out are worth it. It's good in the mirror match too. To get rid of Spirit Dragons or Azure Dragons or something like that. Spirit Dragon is really good in the mirror. It's really clutch. It gets a lot of things going. Being able to tag into Azure Dragon really puts a damper on the mirror match and makes it a little bit harder. So this card prevents that from happening. So I really like that in that sense. Played 1 Ally Adjusted Cycle Reader. It came up twice throughout the entire day, and neither time it was incredibly game-changing. So it's fine playing it at 1. I rather play other cards for their mirror match to answer what they've already done than try to prevent what they've done. Hand traps are good to a degree, but at the end of the day, a lot of times they're -1s that don't necessarily answer issues all the time. So I like to try to cut down on this one in that sense. Played 1 Koaki Mara Drago. Another card I really didn't draw at all throughout the event. The one time I did draw it, I opted to make a different play instead of summoning this guy first turn. And the other play ended up winning me the game. So this is another card I'm likely going to cut. It's good in theory. If you can sit on this and they don't have an out in the mirror match or like Cosmo or BA, it's really, really good. But board wipes are becoming more and more popular against this deck. So it's kind of a glass cannon of sorts. So I opted to just play the 1, but I'm going to probably cut it in the future. You got to play triple Twin Twister in the side. I don't think it's good game 1s, especially for me when I was trying to make the deck better going first than second. And I feel like I expected to play a lot of mirrors, and this card's not necessarily good in the mirror, but it's really good against BA. It's really good against Pendulum decks, so you got to play it. Played a Regeki and a Dark Hole. Like I've been saying, board wipes are really strong against this deck. In particular, it's really good against other things. BA players are opting more and more for Vanity's Fiend. So these are 1-card answers to the Vanity's Fiends. And it does a lot of versatile stuff sometimes. It can be come up clutch against Cosmo. If you can make it, especially Regeki, if you can make a Spirit Dragon, you Regeki them, and you can negate one of their ships, it can end up winning the game right out. So I really like these cards. Then I played 2 Forbidden Chalice. I really, really like this card. It didn't come up as much as I wanted to in the regional, but I'm going to continue to play this card because I'm sure it's going to come up. It makes your guys bigger every time in the mirror match. 3,000 can be really hard to get over. Spirit Dragons in defense, Azure Dragons in defense. All your guys are 3, so putting one of those guys in defense can be really detrimental, really slow down the pace of the game. So this card can help you get over it. It's good against rogue decks. Whenever you just feel like you need to be able to get bigger or get over something, it's good. The effect negation comes up really clutch sometimes, so I really like this card. Then I played 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance. It auto wins against Pendulum. There's a lot of... It's good in the mirror match. Spell cards are so important in the meta, so I think it's good against like Hero and stuff like that, which is coming up back into the meta a little bit. So I really like this card in theory. Sometimes it can slow you down a little bit, but all in all, it's a really good card, and it can straight up auto win some matchups, so it's worth playing. Overall, I really enjoyed this card. I thought it came up good throughout the regional. And that's about it.
All right, any shout outs?
Yeah, shout out to Pro Play Games and George Machado, doing great things for the community, really bringing back some competitive spirit into the community. Really can appreciate that, especially for someone who's played in the South Florida area for so long. Shout out to the boys, John, Travis, Eric, Eddie, Jesse, Ricky, David, Gio, everybody. Got a lot of great play testing against them, a lot of good theory with them. Shaheen, Hagab, Striva, all the boys, good job this weekend. Good job with all the testing we've been doing. And I'm looking forward to the upcoming season.
All right. Congrats, Zach.
Thank you, guys.